Hello, everyone. Happy spring to all of you. What a nice weather we have in San Francisco. Sometimes it is windy. Today, I nearly swam, but I didn't have enough time to swim in the ocean. Everybody thinks I'm a hero, but actually I kind of got used to the cold temperature of the water, and I also love the hot temperature of the hot tub. Can you imagine? I'm reaching my mid-60s, and no weather is too hot for me, no weather is too cold for me. I went to the cold weather of Quebec last year, and I loved it. And I stayed with people outdoors longer than they felt comfortable with. And they are used to that weather. I went to the hot weather of Tel Aviv when I was teaching training courses. And I enjoyed the heat so much. I must say, I've taken steps. I bathed in the Mediterranean, which is nice and warm. Nevertheless, it reduces the temperature. And then the heat of Tel Aviv did not bother me. The heat of Mexico City did not bother me last week. And the cool air here is something I adore. What can I tell you? I love nature as it is. Do you know, old sages used to say that accepting emotionally the life that you have makes the difference. It's so important for us to understand that the thermostat of the body is your blood circulation. When your blood circulates well, you're not sensitive. You're not cold, you're not hot, you're not uncomfortable, you feel light, you don't feel heavy. You feel flexible, you don't feel stiff. And you have a clarity of mind, and nothing blocks it. It is that poor blood flow that causes problems from stiffness, immobility to senility. And we have to work hard on our circulation. That's why the breathing chapter and the circulatory chapter are the first two chapters that each one of you should work with. I suggest 5 exercises every day per week. You have between those two chapters almost 40 exercises, and it will keep you occupied for several weeks in a row, 8 to 10 weeks. Just work and improve. But today I want to talk about your spine. I feel kind of lonely because I don't have back pain. So many people, even in a young age, a third of my age, and even less than that, complain about back pain. So much stiffness. Well, finally, people understand that sitting is so hard on the back. What we don't understand is how much shoes and cement are hard on the back. And so to begin with, don't allow yourself to sit for too long. Oh, you can find all this in my book. But I want to talk right now about an exercise for your back. So if you have a moment, and if you're in a good place, like your living room space, your bedroom, if there's some floor space, start to do an exercise which is very interesting. Stand and be comfortable. In fact, slightly more than hip width apart will be also good. And then point your 2 arms sideways. First, they'll point to the floor, and then you point them up to the ceiling. Don't do it fast. Breathe 3 slow, deep breaths when they're pointing up to the ceiling, and 3 deep breaths when they're pointing down to the floor. And change them from side to side. You may find that there is some change in your feet. Not all of you will feel it, but some muscles will tighten and some muscles will loosen when you do that. Then do an exercise that makes sense to everyone. Keep your heels on the floor and lift your toes one by one up, which means your toes are up and the heels are down, and you're trying to do quite a few of them. Turn the program off so you can count 15 each foot, lifting them up and down. and remember to breathe deeply. Now, you probably have some soreness in your shins, or tibialis anterior, we call it, the name of the muscle. Now, lift the heel up and keep the toes on the floor, and one by one, go down with the heels to the floor. Hit the floor as hard as you can and relax your muscles. And a very good exercise also is to lift the legs one by one and very quickly stamp on the floor. Hopefully, if you have a neighbor downstairs, they're out of the house so they won't complain. But I think it's a great one. Now see how it is to stand and point your hands down and then switch them so they point up. So they will point up and down, up and down. Now walk backwards. Before you walk backwards, look to the left and look to the right and see that you're not going to fall on anything, please. And if you have a corridor where you can walk backwards, that would be really great. Walk backwards. And then what I would suggest is walk backwards and stop, backwards and stop, backwards and stop. 10 steps, stop, 10 steps, stop. The next exercise will be that you walk backwards and then run forwards. Walk backwards, run forwards. Then run backwards and walk forwards. Turn the program off for the next minute or minute and a half and do that. Now, stand on a stair and one leg will be hanging, hold to a railing or banister or anything. One leg will be hanging in the air, point the foot up to the knee and move your leg in rotating motion. Then do exactly the same thing with the other leg. Start with this today, and within a week or so, you can put light weight on your calf to stretch the hip down. So many people lose their hip joints and have surgeries to replace them. This is a great preventative exercise, as walking to the side is. But anyway, point your toes towards your knee and move the leg in rotating motion. Let that leg stretch. Let the femur separate mildly from the hip joint, the acetabulum area. And do it with each leg. Again, turn off the program for a short moment, no more than a minute, and come back to the program. Now, again, stand with the feet hip width apart or slightly more. Point with your hands down to the floor and then up to the ceiling, back and forth. See if there's a sense of more evenness and more balance in your feet. And one of the greatest secrets is that balanced feet are a way for a better spine. I did the same kind of exercises with someone who lost a big part of his small brain, Friedreich ataxia, it's called, in Mexico City. And his walk was compromised in the last few years, and it got so much better as a result of what we did right now. So I suggest that you repeat this exercise routine for the next week and see how it feels. Can you stand with the 2 feet hip width apart and feel comfortable? And then there is more to come. So happy spring to all of you. Our message is a message of awareness, inner peace, love to nature, and love to the body. And unfortunately, some of you by mistake were dropped from our email list and we restored you back. And of course, you can always decide to unsubscribe, that's fine. But if you decide to stay with us, as I hope you will, as every week we have new messages, then please do so. We love to hear from you and love to speak with you. And again, happy spring from Meir and staff.